either we are there or not, ITSPmagazine still gets the best stories. There are plenty of conferences and all sorts of events that spark our curiosity and allow us to start conversations with some of the world's brightest minds. In person or virtually, we sit down with them at the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society. Together, we discover what the synergy of these three elements means for the future of humanity. Knowledge is power, now more than ever. CrowdSec, the collaborative and open source cybersecurity solution. Analyze behaviors, respond to attacks, and share signals across the community for free. Let's make the internet safer together. Learn more at crowdsec.net.
EdgeScan offers continuous vulnerability intelligence as a service, accurately identifying vulnerabilities and exposures across the full stack. All threats are verified by cybersecurity experts, providing exploitable risk and remediation guidance, virtually false positive free. Learn more at edgescan.com.
Pantera, the leader in automation security validation, allows organizations to continuously test the integrity of all cybersecurity layers by emulating real-world attacks at scale to pinpoint the exploitable vulnerabilities and prioritize remediation towards business impact. Learn more at www.pantera.io.
We're back.
There we are.
Did you miss us? I hope so. I missed being on last night. Yesterday, the last two events, but I also missed my tooth that's been removed. So I did pretty good.
Which do you miss more?
Probably my tooth, but that's the difference. Now I missed the audience. I missed to connect. I know you had a great conversation with Tracy, InfoSec Sherpa, and Chloe Mistagi. So
love Tracy and Chloe and everybody else that was on yesterday. And today we have Giora Engel on. Giora, how is it going?
Look at that.
Good. My voice is still rough from Black Hat.
And you know what?
It's okay.
You know what you missed because you're home now. Do you know what you missed last night?
Oh, the storms.
The storm.
Yeah, I've seen some picture. I didn't miss that one.
Yeah, it's quite.
I saw literally water
before the event, and I was like, the event missed that whole experience. But no, there it is again.
Literally water coming down, I think, inside the hotels, which is kind of like, I know that never rains there, but I expect a little better on that one, but whatever. Anyway, Giora, how was being there? I mean, you lost your voice, and did you gain some great experience, though? It's a good trade.
So I mean, I think this year was kind of coming back here, right? Because last year was really weak. It was kind of sad to see how it kind of came back maybe 15 years back, like in terms of size and so on. But this year was packed. I don't know the official numbers, but it was packed with people. Definitely in also in DEF CON. DEF CON is even more packed. Black Hat, the show floor was full of people, full of companies. It was pretty exciting this year.
Very good. Yeah, we are sad that we didn't make it, but we're creating a lot of content remotely. But so it's a bittersweet.
The FOMO is huge for sure. It's not fair. I mean, I am missing out. So that's what RAMO. So reality is actually missing out. I don't know.
I don't know. You just make up this acronym.
I make up stuff.
Well, let's dig in. Sean, what do you want to know? Because this is the beauty. We have eyes and ears that are on the floor. So what are you curious about?
So you know what? I asked a couple times yesterday, and I found the responses interesting because we can find out what the trends are, and we'll probably get to these as well. But I asked a question, and Giora, this is to you now. Was there anything that moved you? Was there an experience you had or a conversation you heard or were part of or a presentation that you saw or a speaker that you met or whatever that you're like, wow, that was cool? Anything like that come across?
I think maybe it's the concentration of companies, and especially around the area of the innovation city. I think it's the first time that they did it. I'm actually not. I don't remember seeing it before, but it's basically like part of the show that has like all the new companies, and some of them are more mature than others. It's just so interesting to see like every step that you take, you see another company and another. Like another new idea, another type of technology. That was pretty significant, and I think the quality of people this year was really great. You saw a lot of colleagues, friends, CISOs, and good conversations everywhere.
Talk about that. Some people mentioned that they've seen a lot of new companies, but also a lot of rebranding. And maybe some merging of companies. So it's kind of like, were they really all new? I mean, did you notice that as well?
Yeah, I mean, there are some companies that rebranded for sure. I mean, I can't remember specifically, but all of a sudden you see this big booth with a name you don't recognize. So it's obviously something. It's obviously an existing company, but with some new name or maybe a new product name.
Or they got a Series A, B, and C all in one.
Oh, that's possible too. There are a few of those as well. But yeah, I mean, there's also a lot of use of the XDR term. I think everything is XDR today, almost regardless of what you're doing, and a lot of mention on product security and API security. I mean, this is like one of the new trends. So we see it in almost in every booth in some way. Also a lot of identity. I think that's another trend that we. I mean, again, it's not like a new. It's not a new trend, but I think it's intensifying this year for sure. People are. I think maybe are arranging these technologies by groups and calling them in these names, and it's kind of interesting to see how the terminology shifts a little bit.
Yeah, we had a chance twice yesterday to speak to, an analyst at Forrester, and I can't remember where Richard used to work. He was a former analyst, but now he's looking at the security market as a whole. And both of their perspectives, one is about defining categories like XDR. Ali does a great job of understanding what all the technologies are that come together to enable XDR and make that possible. And then Richard's looking at all the companies that are part of it and trying to either attach to that or try to find their way into the space or into the market through different buckets, if you will. And I guess what I'd love from you is maybe there's this idea that some businesses are interested in the startups, some are not. They want to go with the company that either built a bunch of stuff, or more likely the case, they bought a bunch of stuff and stick it under a single platform. What was your experience in chatting with folks the last couple of days?
Well, I think people that go to the show typically go to see the new things, because the existing companies that they work with, they kind of know, right? So typically I think they go to see the new things. They go to meet their colleagues. They're gonna they want to discuss some new topics, and I think these in the end of the day, the new companies, the new ideas eventually also become part of the big companies, either through acquisition or just because the technology develops that way. But I think that the point of the show is to speak about the new things, the new problems, the new hacks, and kind of take it into mind when we're designing our security programs, when we select vendors in the future, and the way that we identify and call or categorize our problems.
Yeah, and I can't remember if you got a sense of this when we did our live stream a few weeks back, but there's the traditional marketing of security products, which is almost always driven by FUD, right? Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And then there's the reality of what the products really offer, right? So you strip away the marketing stuff, and there's what it actually does. And then there's the operational aspect, where you actually take what it does and you bring it into your program and into your environment, make it work. And then even further left, I always try to bring conversations to this point of left of, what does that do to the business? Do we have to define the business differently? Do we run the business differently so that we're not exposing ourselves, or we have to minimize the number of controls we actually have to employ? So I'm wondering, with all of that in mind, what did you feel? Was it a very negative messaging? Was there a lot of dancing around the capabilities and a lot of high level marketing that were hard to strip through or filter through and get to what's going on? Or what was your sense of the messaging and the conversations in that regard? I sensed,
this year it was, I think, less FUD than usual. I think it's a trend, by the way, in the last few years. If you look maybe 5 to 7 years ago, everything was about these, high profile cyber attacks. But today it's not exactly the same, because I think attackers are a little bit more sophisticated. It's not all or nothing anymore. They kind of get their way somehow and cause this smaller scale damage that is more consistent and continues over time. So I think we hear less about this huge breach that everything happened at once, but it's more like a lower profile leak, but in the end of the day, it may cause actually more damage than the bigger breach. I think part of that trend, I think connecting it to your comment about the relationship to the business, I think that is becoming more and more important, because most of what people develop today are business applications, and that in the form of web, mobile, APIs, the interconnectivity between different businesses. So these are all directly related to the core business, as opposed to generic technologies like network security, endpoint security. These generic technologies are related to the IT environment, regardless of the business. But when you go to the product security area, and people speak about APIs, they speak about product security, they speak about securing the code, shift left, even cloud security. All these areas are much more related to the application environment, to the product, and I think this is where the battle is fought these days. So I think that's kind of the maybe the new way to look at it. Instead of just hearing about the big breach, think about your own business and what's your sensitivity, and what kind of data can be stolen, what kind of abuse can happen on your platform. That's kind of the new way to think about it.
Yeah, that's interesting. The few things that we have heard as well is the fact that maybe marketing is not pushing so much on the fear and uncertainty and doubt anymore, because the business are actually more mature. So we heard stories about the vendors. The vendors are there, and the people, the business already know kind of what they want. It's not just a question of, I need security, please help me out. But I'm like, I need this, I need this, I need that. So I'm wondering if the marketing now is switching more of, there's AI everywhere versus, be afraid. And maybe that's a good news for the industry. So what do you think? Are we having a different conversation with the business?
I think we are getting more mature on some of these categories for sure. People have a better idea of what they need. They have more priorities that are driven by the business in the end of the day. So yeah, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, and how about the human element? Is technology going to resolve everything, or we still need humans in there?
The human stack, Marco.
Not the human stack, yes.
The human stack is in the end of the day the most important, and I think I think the technology is only as good as people that operate it in the end of the day. We still hear about the shortage of people, and I think a lot of the AI talk is somehow related to how to empower the human element. At least to me, I think when I hear about AI, it's not about the algorithms or like all these buzzwords. I think that is a little bit overhyped. I think in the end of the day, when I hear AI, I'm trying to to understand where is the human element, because the human element is the most important. Sometimes it comes from the vendor. By the way, I think we see recently, especially in XDR categories, but we see it in other categories as well. All these products come with some human element in addition. So they have their platform, they have their technology, but they're also managed threat hunters on the back that are part of delivering that service. And that is critical, because in the end of the day, your customers, the security teams that use the product are constrained in resources. They don't necessarily have all the expertise in every topic. So relying on that human element from the vendor side is super critical, or the MSSP side. I mean that's also good.
Yeah, and that I think is a sign of maturity as well. When you think about this technology is not going to resolve the problem, but it's going to augment the capacity of the humans that are working on this problem. So definitely that's a good news. And Sean, talking about humans, that's what makes our business so interesting to tell
I have
the
no
stories.
Humans on my shirt. I have robots and dinosaurs.
Which, by the way, I got to break it to you. Dinosaurs are not around anymore, so maybe the robot won.
How do you know?
No, but
how do you know?
I don't know. I've seen bones and stuff. That's about it. No, really, the human element, Sean. We feed on the human element. I don't want to sound like a vampire here, but that's how we tell our story. Live streaming with friends like Giora here, yeah. and the next conversation. I mean, we're gonna get inside DEF CON. We're gonna get inside in the villages. I am crying a little bit because I want to go physically there and grab the badges and everything, but at least we get to share from the villages with all our audience around the world, because we're not the only one not being there. Not everybody is in Vegas.
Not everybody's in Vegas. Those some people had to swim away, but now just to close on what Giora was saying in the human element and augmenting the humans with AI. Mark and I have the opportunity. We don't talk security 100% of the time, all day, every day. We actually break out. We have some fun. We have a channel called Audio Signals. And guess what? AI is not just in security. AI is in gaming and in retail and in entertainment and all these different areas. And we have some cool guests on that certainly blows my mind, the conversations we have, and really bring home to a point, Giora, that you made, that AI isn't there to replace the human. AI is there to help the human do things faster, maybe repeatable, and maybe perhaps even find a path forward that is better, but not as a replacement. So, I think great points, Giora, and I want to thank you for being our eyes and ears for the past few days, and glad you're home safe and sound, and appreciate you taking the time this morning. For everybody listening, we have a day full of conversations, live streaming. This is our 4th day. I don't know how many we've streamed in the last few days, but they're all there on ITSPmagazine.com, and loads of fun conversations, loads of guests, friends, old and new. And so stay tuned, Giora. We're going to say goodbye here. Have a great rest of the weekend. Perhaps you'll join us in DEF CON through our streams as we hit the villages and other folks there in Vegas.
Great. Thank you.
See ya. Take care.
Pantera, the leader in automation security validation, allows organizations to continuously test the integrity of all cybersecurity layers by emulating real-world attacks at scale to pinpoint the exploitable vulnerabilities and prioritize remediation towards business impact. Learn more at www.pantera.io.
EdgeScan offers continuous vulnerability intelligence as a service, accurately identifying vulnerabilities and exposures across the full stack. All threats are verified by cybersecurity experts, providing exploitable risk and remediation guidance, virtually false positive free. Learn more at edgescan.com.
CrowdSec, the collaborative and open source cybersecurity solution. analyze behaviors, respond to attacks, and share signals across the community for free. Let's make the internet safer together. Learn more at crowdsec.net. We hope you enjoyed this episode of our on-location conversation. If you learned something new and this podcast made you think, then share ITSPmagazine.com with your friends, family, and colleagues. If you represent a company and wish to associate your brand with our conversations, sponsor one or more of our podcast channels. We hope you will come back for more stories and follow us on our journey. You can always find us at the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society.